Hey, and welcome back. And this is the July 1st episode. First, we're going to go over what I've been watching the last week and then maybe preview a couple of things coming up this weekend for the big holiday, July 4th. So let's get started. Okay, let's start off with Amazon. One of the first movies I watched was Archive, which stars Theo James from the Divergent series. Basically plays a person in mourning, trying to get his life back through his work and also the person he lost. Pretty good. Enjoyed this movie, and I would definitely say to you it's worth checking out. Another movie on Amazon was Parallel, which is situated with four friends in a house that they rent, discover that there's a window into another universe, and then they use it to their own benefit and what happens after that. I would say I'm kind of in the middle on this. I know I have a minus there because, well, I didn't really care for the ending, but I'd say it's okay if you like this kind of film. I definitely would put it down at the bottom of your list of things to watch, though. Another movie was Monsters, which is an older film from 2010 that I had no idea existed. Very nice movie. It takes place where aliens have invaded the Earth, but what they've occupied is just a section in northern Mexico along the U.S. border. And it's basically two people's attempt to get from Mexico back home into the U.S. through this alien region, and I would definitely say to check this one out as well. Very good. The last movie I watched on Amazon was Infinite, which stars Mark Wahlberg. The premise of this movie is that where certain people can remember all their past lives. This movie is not good. It's a real hot mess. A lot of things go unexplained. People have these abilities that they don't explain why, even though, yes, they remember their past lives, but still it seems a little over the top. Along with the plot is just a mess too. Anyway, I would skip it. I like Mark Wahlberg usually, but not in this film. This is not a good movie. Okay, over on Disney Plus, I watched the third episode of Loki. Still going strong. Very good series. Definitely you should be checking that out. On Netflix, great Liam Neeson vehicle, Ice Road. I guess great is too big of a word. It's a good film. It delivers what it promises. Liam Neeson is himself, and if you like him, you're going to like this film. Another older film that is kind of a guilty pleasure for me, I hadn't watched in a while, but enjoyed watching it again, is Streets of Fire from 1984. It stars Diane Lane, Michael Paré, Willem Dafoe, Rick Moranis playing kind of a jerk character, which is unusual for him. And it basically, stylistically, kind of sums up what the 80s were like back then with the old classic MTV music videos kind of vibe to it. Good music and a lot of fun. Definitely you should check that one out if you haven't seen it before. A movie I didn't care for was Seventh Day. It's a story of a couple of priests and who do exorcisms and basically the evil they have to fight. Nothing new here as far as the story. Didn't really like it, but if you do like this genre, what I would recommend is waiting till July 2nd, coming up, where there's a Korean film coming out called The Eighth Ninth, and that's what you're looking at now. That looks so much better. I am pretty sure that I'm going to check out, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot better than The Seventh Day. Another movie I didn't care for was The Wind. It takes place in the American West, the Old West, probably in the 1800s, and the haunting and loneliness that can go along with it. It just kind of you have to be in the right mood, I think, for this movie. It just it's very slow. The blurring of what's real and what isn't real, realization is nice, but it just wasn't enough for me to really recommend strongly this movie. Also on Netflix was Awake, which it takes place in the present day. And what happens is everyone in the world loses. What happens is everyone in the world loses their ability to sleep, and it focuses in on this one mother of 2 children, and her daughter is one of those people who can actually sleep, one of the few, and it's her efforts to basically save her children and specifically her daughter, and to find a cure for this issue, because if you can't sleep, you'll probably die. So check that one out. I actually enjoyed it. It was good. It's a solid movie. The last film I saw on Netflix was Close, and it was not good. It's kind of a mess, especially at the end. They just kind of wrapped everything up real quick, and it just felt really hollow. It's basically a rich girl whose people are trying to kidnap her, and the person in charge of her security and the rescue, the saving efforts. But I would say pass on that one. And over on HBO, I can recommend Walk Hard. It's an older film from 2010 with John C. Reilly. He plays a fictional, iconic figure in rock history called Dewey Cox, and it's just a hilarious movie, and the songs are great and hilarious, and they touch on the different genres from the early rock and roll in the 50s to the 60s and 70s and all the way up to today. And it's a great film. Definitely check that one out. So now let's look at stuff that's coming up this weekend. Up on Amazon is a movie called The Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt and J.K. Simmons. Looks pretty good. It's about people who go back in time 30 years to today. They're actually in our future. And what happens is we find out that they are fighting aliens who are trying to take over the world, and we're losing. So they have to go back in time and basically find more people to help them fight. I would say definitely check it out. It looks good, and we'll see it then. Okay, another film coming out on HBO Max. I wrote this down because I didn't want to forget everything. It's a Steven Soderbergh film. Stars Don Cheadle, Benicio del Toro, Ray Liotta, John Hamm, and Brendan Fraser, who's you almost don't recognize him. He's gotten big, but he's always been great. It's in 1950s Detroit, where a group of criminals get together under mysterious circumstances and basically do a job, and of course it goes sideways on them. So this one looks really good. Looking forward to that on HBO this weekend. All right, thanks again as always for joining me. Next week we'll have a whole new group of stuff that I've watched and see what I thought. Let me know what you think of some of the things I've watched. Leave your comments, subscribe, and I will see you next week.